So I'm not by any stretch of the imagination an expert on sustainability or the environment, but I want to be creating content that's the type of content I want to watch. And honestly, I have a long history of buying a bunch of little trinkets for my home without thinking much about the impact on the earth. And so lately, as I've been pursuing minimalism, I've spent a little more time kind of researching this, brainstorming ideas around how to refresh our homes in a way that makes them feel exciting and kind of inviting without breaking the bank, but also without making maybe such a negative impact on the earth. So here are 10 little ways to refresh your home in maybe a slightly more sustainable way. One of the easiest initial things you can do is to let more air and light in. Take down an unnecessary curtain, let some light in, maybe even open a window. I think filling your home with fresh air and light can be a quick and easy way to just make the space feel like new. A second thing you can do is choose items that are made of materials that are more sustainable. Things like cotton, wood, bamboo, or cork are all great options. Bamboo because those trees can grow really fast in like 3 to 4 months as opposed to the decades other types of trees take. And cork because cork is quite often made out of just the bark that they remove from trees as opposed to taking down entire trees. But in general, using organic materials can be a good option because then they're usually more biodegradable and they often last longer. A third option is to add a plant. I think adding a plant, especially, if it's propagated from another plant you already have or from a friend, it's an easy way to liven up a space. That's why I have multiple plants in my backdrop right here. But I also recently added a plant to my desk area and I feel like somehow it's helped me focus better. I don't know if that's the reason why, but somehow just having something alive in my space sort of keeps me company. A fourth option is to use a chemically safe and sustainable air freshener. I think an air freshener is actually a quick and affordable way to refresh your entire space. They say smell is the sense that's most associated with memory, and I personally want to fill my home with memories. Plus, it's an easy way to refresh your car. And this is actually where today's sponsor fits in. Drift creates air care products for your home and your car in a sustainably conscious way. Lots of air fresheners are full of potentially harmful chemicals, while Drift uses natural essential oils and other fragrances. They also use sustainably sourced wood for those air fresheners. They range in price from around $9 for the wood option and about $14 for the stone option. I also feel like every time I've used an air freshener in my life, eventually they just run out and I forget to go out and refresh them. Plus, I get so used to the scent, I just kind of go nose blind. So what's cool is with Drift, if you want, you can join a subscription to get a new scent every 30 days. And what's important to me is that their subscription is extremely flexible. You can change your scent of choice, change how often it's delivered. So if 30 days is too often for you or not often enough, you can change that. And you can also cancel your subscription at any time super easily. What's also fun is that they have a scent of the month, which is inspired by emotions and memories associated with that season. So Drift recently sent me this beautiful fragrance, Bootlegger. It has notes of ambrette seed, pear, orris, vetiver, and cedarwood. It's nice. They also make it easy. If you want to put it in your car, you just pop this clip onto your car and add the Drift scent. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description box below and use the code SLICE55 for 55% off your first month. A fifth strategy to refresh your home is to use what you already have to redecorate. You can move furniture around, bring out an old piece of art that's just been sitting in your attic, or use that spare can of paint to paint another area, or repaint or varnish furniture to give those pieces new life. This can even be kind of a fun, creative exercise to just go through your home, see what you already have, and see how you can use it a bit differently. Another strategy is to shop secondhand. What's fun about this option is that we all sometimes have that craving to go out shopping and to buy something that feels new to us, even if it's not technically new. But shopping secondhand is a good option that's far more sustainable. You're using something that's already been used, you're giving it another life, but you're not buying something actually new. Quite often when you shop secondhand, it's also pieces that have stood the test of time and that are more likely to stick around longer for you. On top of that, I personally enjoy shopping with friends and family. It's kind kind of a social thing and you deliberate on whether or not to purchase something with them or even just notice cool and funky things at these secondhand shops. It's a fun way to connect with people around you anyway, but you might also be able to find things that will refresh your space more affordably and in a way that's slightly better for the environment. Another one that's related to that is to shop local and or handmade. Sourcing handmade textiles can actually support artistic communities, and if it's made by human hands, it's often less environmentally invasive. Plus, shopping locally can also reduce packaging and shipping. On top of that, I mean, isn't it nice to support a small local shop as opposed to some big chain? I mean, I'm guilty of it. I certainly shop at chains quite often, but I think if we can just find those little diamond shops in the rough, quite often they give us way better quality and more kind of personalized pieces. An 8th tip is to use a dried bouquet or flowers in your home. I personally love this one not only because it's more environmentally friendly, but also because it's way easier. It's way lower maintenance to just put some flowers out and let them sit there over time. I have a couple different dried bouquets in my home, or even little grasses that really liven up the space but are basically no effort to take care of. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I definitely have some grasses or bouquets that have been in my home for over a year. A 9th strategy is if you're going to buy something, try to buy something that's built to last. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be more expensive or from a fancier company. Like sometimes you can go to a very basic store and get a solid piece of furniture. But I have thought back to times where I'd buy a bunch of like even plastic things that are kind of wobbly, or things made of plywood that didn't really fit right together. And sometimes very quickly, even in a matter of months, the piece would fall apart or not work correctly. And so I think one thing that helps me to determine this is to look at a lot of the reviews. I know that's obvious, but I think sometimes we forget to do that. So that's an important step, as well as to look at the materials that the pieces are made out of. And a 10th sustainable way to refresh your home is to get out there and to declutter. Have I ever mentioned this one before to you? You know, let me know in the comments if I've ever mentioned decluttering before. I can't seem to think if that's been a topic that's come up here. I know I talk all the time about getting rid of stuff and refreshing your space in that way, but honestly, let's be real, it's the easiest, probably the best way to liven up our spaces. I feel like when there's less chaos in my space, it just injects this energy and airiness in a way that actually gives me more energy. There is also psychological research to support the idea that clutter causes stress. And so that just reminds me to tell myself, hey, Aylin, if you're starting to see too much clutter, maybe it's time to get back on top of that. So those are my 10 ideas, but I just want to take another moment to thank all of you yet again for continuing to watch my videos and to support the channel. I'm so regularly blown away by some of your decluttering and minimalism ideas, some of your stories that you've shared through comments on various videos. I honestly love to learn a bit about your lives and what you've learned along the way. I am constantly learning from all of you, so thank you. And some of you have even asked, you know, how can we support you more? And so I just want to also mention another way to support me and the channel is just to watch my videos. That's a great way to support me. Another way that I've mentioned before too is, you know, to like videos, also to subscribe. But on top of that, taking the time to actually watch through the ads that play kind of in the middle of the videos is a great way to financially support the channel as well. Now, the ads that play in the middle of videos, I don't have control over what they are. So especially if you're just playing my videos in the background while you do something else anyway, just letting those ads play is a great way to support me. Anyway, that's most of what I have for you today. Thanks for sticking around this long if you've gotten this far. And don't forget to check out the link in the description box below for the Drift fragrances I mentioned. Thanks so much for spending this little bit of time with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!